Missing Kenley Matheson cold open September 21st, 1992, a Sunday night in Wolfville, Nova Scotia. A 20-year-old Cape Breton kid named Kenley Matheson is seen walking down Main Street. He's wearing jeans, a purple t-shirt, a ball cap, and carrying a red and black backpack. That is the last confirmed sighting of him. Ever HO was Kenley? Alan Kenley Matheson grew up in Glendale, Cape Breton Island, a small community in the highlands of rural Nova Scotia. He went by his middle name, Kenley. By all accounts, he was a likable, adventurous young man. He had a love of motorcycles and travel, the kind of guy who needed to see what was over the next hill. Before starting university, he'd spent time on the road, riding through his gap years, exploring. In September of 1992, he enrolled at Acadia University in Wolfville, one of Nova Scotia's most respected small universities, tucked into the Annapolis Valley. His younger sister, Kayreen, was there too. Also a student, Kenley was 2 weeks in. 2 weeks during those first 14 days, he made friends, went to a party on campus on the weekend of the 18th, took a trip with friends to Corcomb's Island in Lunenburg County, and was seen by his sister and others at the university on September 20th. The next day, September 21st, he walked down Main Street in Wolfville and was never seen again. The initial investigation, the Wolfville Police Department handled the initial investigation, and it went cold almost immediately. No eyewitnesses came forward. No body was found. No clear suspects emerged. No leads surfaced. What made it even more troubling? Since the day he disappeared, there has been zero contact with his family or friends, zero activity on his bank account, not a single transaction, not a single phone call. In a missing persons case, that kind of total silence almost always means one of two things. Either the person chose to completely vanish from their own life and maintain that choice for decades, or something happened to them. Kenley's family always believed it was the latter. His mother, Sarah MacDonald, has described not knowing what happened to her son as devastating. His sister Kayreen has spent the better part of her adult life fighting for answers. In 2012, 20 years after his disappearance, Kenley's case was finally added to Nova Scotia's Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program. The province put up $150 Miro for information leading to the arrest and conviction of anyone responsible. In 2017, 25 years in, the RCMP released an age progression sketch showing what Kenley might look like today. But for decades, those efforts produced nothing new. The documented case might have remained buried in Nova Scotia's cold case files indefinitely. If it weren't for a mysterious email, around 2011, an American filmmaker named Lamothe, who teaches history and documentary filmmaking at Lesley University in Massachusetts, received an email about Kenley's disappearance. He was intrigued. The case had all the elements of a great detective story: persons of interest, unanswered questions, a family desperate for closure. He raised $82,000 through Kickstarter. He began filming in 2014. He thought it might take a couple of years. It took 8. What Lamothe uncovered during production turned what had seemed like a tragic cold case into something much darker. Suspects emerged, stories surfaced, contradictions piled up. And halfway through filming, a new person of interest came to the forefront, one who allegedly confessed to murder. Missing Kenley premiered in Halifax in September 2022, exactly 30 years after Kenley disappeared. It's a 5-episode, 10-part docuseries, now streaming on Amazon Prime and more than a dozen other platforms. For the first time, the case was getting national attention. Thieves suspect this is the part of the story that gets complicated and disturbing. During the course of his investigation, Lamothe identified a key person of interest, a trans woman who identified as a man named Jason Kenny in 1992, and who is now known as Aaron Smith, according to Lamothe's documentary. In 2016, Suzanne Saunders, Aaron Smith's mother, went to the RCMP and reported that her son, Jason, had told her that he killed Kenley Matheson and buried his body in a spot known as the Bear Caves on Melanson Mountain, a forested mountain just a few kilometers southeast of Wolfville. That's not all. Aaron Smith's sibling, Toby May Saunders, told Lamothe on multiple occasions that they had heard the same claim from their brother. And an anonymous email Lamothe received in 2017 repeated the same story, that Suzanne Saunders had told someone at the time of the disappearance that her son knew where Kenley's body was. Multiple family members. The same location, the same story. Over and over, the documentary's final episodes are stunning. Kenley's own mother travels to meet the new person of interest, and in the last episode, the suspect's sister links her sibling directly to Kenley's disappearance on camera. Lamothe also found that some individuals who agreed to participate in filming, possibly believing they could control the narrative, inadvertently revealed new details about the case that contradicted their previous statements to police. Someone, it seems, knows exactly what happened to Kenley Matheson. Search on Melanson Mountain, May of 2023. The Globe and Mail commissioned a search of Melanson Mountain using the International Police Work Dog Association. On May 23rd and 24th, Doug and Kathy Tieft of the Nova Scotia K9 rescue team led the search, with Lamothe and a Globe and Mail journalist present. On the second day, 2 local residents guided the team to the Bear Caves, the exact spot Aaron Smith's mother said her son had buried Kenley 30 years before. Within 30 minutes, a cadaver dog named Rifle, trained specifically to detect human remains, indicated the presence of remains at that location. Kenley Matheson, Kenley's sister, heard the news from across the continent. She said, "As soon as I heard that Rifle potentially found human remains in Melanson Mountain, I immediately felt that this was it. Like, I just felt it in my heart that this was Kenley." The findings were reported to the RCMP commissioner in Ottawa on May 29, 2023. Kenley's family met with the RCMP in early June and begged them to secure and process the site immediately. They waited and waited. According to Lamothe, the RCMP's head of major crimes for Southwest Nova asked Kenley's family 3 separate times, in a single meeting, what they would do if the RCMP chose not to search the site at all. The RCMP also claimed they were having difficulty tracking down the property owner, who lived in Ontario, to obtain consent, despite the fact that they should have been straightforward to locate. It took months before a formal search was authorized. Disappointing, in August 2023, a multi-agency team finally moved in. RCMP Major Crime Unit investigators, the Nova Scotia Medical Examiner's Office, St. Thomas University's Anthropology Department, and Acadia University's Earth and Environmental Science Department, along with the K9 team, searched the Melanson Mountain site for 3 days. On August 29, 2023, the RCMP made their announcement. No human remains were found, no evidence that remains had ever been deposited at the site. For Kenley's family, and for the thousands of people following the case, it was a devastating blow. 31 years of waiting, a cadaver dog's indication, multiple family members of a person of interest all pointing to the same spot, and nothing. The RCMP said the case remains open. They thanked the family for their cooperation, and the mountain gave up nothing. Where things stand as of today, Kenley Matheson has been missing for over 30 years. His family has never stopped. His sister Kayreen launched the Bring Kenley Home campaign, a walking challenge to raise awareness. Family, friends, and supporters have marched through Wolfville, starting at Acadia University, to keep his memory alive and pressure authorities to keep investigating. The $150,000 provincial reward remains active. The case remains classified as a major unsolved crime, and there are still people out there who know something. Kenley Matheson was 20 years old. He was a Cape Breton kid who loved motorcycles and adventure, and had finally made it to university. He had a sister who loved him, a mother who has been waiting for answers for over 3 decades. The last time anyone saw him, he was walking down a small-town main street with a red and black backpack on his shoulders, and then, nothing. If you have any information about the disappearance of Kenley Matheson, you can contact Nova Scotia's Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes tip line at 1-888-710-9990. The provincial government is offering $150,000 for information leading to an arrest and conviction. Somebody knows what happened on that mountain. Somebody knows what happened to Kenley. His family is still waiting.